Hello, we are Not Your Mum, and we're about to tell you the secret of how to make sure the police are on your side if you ever get arrested. You're welcome.
Welcome. I mean, it's not actually a secret as such, it's kind of common sense, but it is something that all police do, but that hardly anybody realises is actually a thing.
More of that later. But first, welcome to a two-part series of what to do if you are arrested in England or Wales or Scotland, but
Minor differences
in Scotland and nowhere else in the world. Just here.
Snappily titled.
Yes. Woo!
We should give an acronym like
Yes, that exact one.
But you know, if you're anywhere else in the world, then you know you can stay.
And stay to the end for the secret.
Oh yeah,
because
that's probably a universal secret actually.
Universal secret.
Yeah. First of all, thank you to Sergeant Laura Abiding of London's Metropolitan Police, who helped us with this video. Doesn't work because the sergeant we spoke to is a man.
It's not why it doesn't work. It's just a bad joke.
Anyway, being arrested. The first and most important thing of all to remember is
being arrested isn't a punishment, and it doesn't necessarily mean you've done anything wrong. It's just a technique that the police use as part of their investigation to find out what's going on. If it's never happened to you, then it's bloomin' scary, but you really don't need to be scared.
Now the police will arrest you if they think you've committed a crime, obviously, whether because they saw you do it, or they think they saw you do it, or whether someone else has told them that they saw you do it. That makes sense. But sometimes they will arrest you, even if they just need to question you about something, if the following also applies.
If when they ask you for your name and address, you don't give it to them, or you come up with some lie. Some silly Mickey Mouse at Disneyland.
Exactly. Which chances are is not your name or your address.
And if it is, then we're so sorry.
They can also arrest you if they think that you're going to harm yourself or someone else.
They might arrest you to stop you getting hurt. For example, if you are drunk and walking down the middle of the road.
They also might arrest you to protect other people. So if someone has said that they saw you nick a chocolate bar and you're with 3 friends, then they might arrest you to question you about it to protect your friends from kind of being criminalised, if that makes sense.
At the point that you get arrested, this will happen. This thing we're about to tell you.
The following.
Always.
Always. It's a legal requirement. Okay, you will be told that you are under arrest. By the medium of the words, you're under arrest. Although apparently they're also allowed to say you're nicked, like on telly.
You will be told what the crime is for which you're being arrested, and why they think you've done it. So, for example, you're being arrested for stealing a chocolate bar from this shop because the security guard said you did it. Sometimes you might not understand what they're talking about, in which case just ask them.
Finally, you will be given the police caution, which is that thing that you see on telly where they say, Nell Sparks, I am arresting you for blah blah blah, you do not have to say anything, etc. Now it's really worth knowing what each part of that caution means, just because it is. So,
here we go. You do not have to say anything.
It literally means you do not have to say anything. They can't make you talk to them. I mean, they're going to try and persuade you to get to the bottom of whatever's happened, but they can't make you.
But it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something you later rely on in court.
So this means that if you do end up in court somewhere down the line for the thing that you've been arrested for, and you say, oh, no, what happened was this, I didn't mention it before, but this is what happened, and that's why I'm innocent, and that's my alibi, then the courts could think, you've clearly just made that up. Therefore, it is harming your defence.
Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
Now the operative word here is may, or the most important word is may, so you may be given in evidence. So everything you say after you've been arrested will be taken down by the police, whether in notes or when, in the interview room with the tape, all that business. But they will only use as evidence the stuff that is relevant. Stuff that isn't relevant to the crime that the police have arrested you for will not be used.
If on the drive to the police station, the officer asks you questions like, what football team do you support? Or, you found a Taylor Swift? Unless you are being arrested for stalking Swiftie, then chances are they're just trying to make you feel less scared and a bit more at ease.
Yeah. Although, if you're being gobby and rude to them, then they won't do this kind of making conversation thing. It will just be straight down the line. But we'll come back to that. It all ties into the secret.
So our advice is this: talk freely about anything other than the crime for which you are being arrested, until you are being officially questioned.
So you've been arrested and you've been given the caution. At this point, you will almost certainly be put in handcuffs, which sounds freaking scary, but it happens to pretty much everyone who's been arrested. It is solely to protect the police, because you might not sit in the back of the car and try and attack the police officer who's driving the car, but others have and will in the future, presumably. So
it's just to protect them.
yeah, don't be surprised if it happens, and don't completely freak out. Now, handcuffs are uncomfortable. There's no getting away from that. But they shouldn't hurt. So if you're sort of getting pins and needles, or you can't feel your hands or anything, then tell the police officer and they will have a look and check if they need to be loosened.
So that's all for part 1. And next week we will tell you, in part 2, we will tell you what happens once you actually get to the police station.
But first, we promised you the secret. Brace yourselves. The secret to how a police officer treats you from the moment they meet you onwards is this: the attitude test.
You won't find any reference to the attitude test in police manuals or on websites and things like that, but police use it. All of them do. And basically, if you are polite, the police will treat you better than if you are rude and you kick off. And yet, you can be saying exactly the same thing.
Indeed. Allow us to demonstrate via the medium of drama. Nell here is a young person talking to a police officer. I am police officer. Compare the following, if you will. What were you and that boy doing in there?
Beep off! This is beeping harassment! You beepity beep beep! Beep!
And now, compare what just happened with what is just about to happen. What were you and that boy doing in there?
I don't want to be rude, but I don't really want to tell you. Yes. But I promise, there's nothing illegal.
And see, basically here, the Nells have said the same thing. But who am I, police officer, more likely to believe at this stage? Polite Nell or Larry Nell? Exactly. I mean, it's polite Nell. Obviously.
Whether you've committed a crime or not, being polite to the police is always the best way to go. As it is in life generally, just be polite to people.
Yeah.
Because it's much harder to sort of think bad of people and think ill of them if they're being really nice and polite. It's just human nature.
Human nature. And on that bombshell, that's it for this week. Come back next week where we'll be talking about appropriate adults and lawyers and free tampons, which is a thing. So thank you very much for watching. Do comment if you like, and we'll see you next week.
Bye! I haven't even done anything!
This is beeping outrageous.